Come to view the requests?
Sometime after our mission in Tempeal, we bumped into the old merchant in Folca.
Well, look who the cat dragged in. Thanks for handling things in Tempeal. You all deserve the best.
Tempeal had been roughed up by Furican's rampage, and all of the locals were busy repairing the damage. The work we did that day had been crucial to those recovery efforts.
Out of curiosity, my young lizard friend, were you much help to your crew?
Uh-oh. He said the L word. I turned to Vern, ready for his usual furious tagline.
Thanks, Pops. You really helped me see the light.
Huh. This was new. The old man threw an apple to Vern, and they exchanged a nod. Then, without explaining this bizarre bond between them that just came out of the blue, he left.
Does anyone else feel like the space-time continuum just broke?
Io was staring, dumbfounded at the small dragon, who was already happily munching away on a tart Granny Smith. Had he matured? Enough to ignore his most hated of hated insults?
Seriously, this is just too much to believe! He called you a lizard and everything! Maybe the ship will be a little quieter from now on, huh?
Hold it! I ain't no lizard! And don't you say that in front of the apple! What if it hears you?
Maybe he'd get there in another adventure or two.
Sometime after the commotion at Tempeal, life in Folca began to struggle towards normalcy. The breeze was soft and welcoming. I'd been blind to the city's charms before, focused as I was on rescuing Lyria from the Church of Avia. The sun watched over the victims of Furican's rage as they raised new homes for themselves from the rubble. But once scars have set in, they are slow to fade. Here and there, the children of Tempeal labored with tools too large for their hands. I offered my aid, but the children said their work was their responsibility.
As long as you're sure you'll be okay.
Some distance away, a small boy burst into a red-faced fit. Lyria and I rushed over, hoping to be of help.
Have a nice day. Yeah?
Got an order? What should I strengthen? I can make just about anything. It's done. I'll handle it. Good. Always aim. Well, look at that. I'll unlock its hidden potential. I'll handle it. Success. Want to sell something? Let's see what you got. What kind of weapons you need? Want your weapons tempered? I'll handle it. How about that? Always aim for the top. Your weapons won't betray you.
Yes, can I help you?
My sword feels lighter.
Don't try and stop me! I have to do this!
He hurled his words like stones as he whipped into a run. Concerned, I asked a nearby man about the boy. He explained that the boy's sister was ill, and the lad was after the remedy, an herb called windcrest. The sickness was assumed to have died out hundreds of years ago, but had now returned to torment the child.
And if that's not enough, I heard the woods where windcrest grows have turned into a monster den.
The boy had struck out alone. Folka had no soldiers to spare, for they were all dispatched to Tempeal for the reconstruction effort. No one was left to answer his pleas, but I would. In my heart, I vowed to bring back the child, and if possible, the herb too. I prayed only that I wasn't too late. Leave the front line to me.
Well, according to that old villager, this is the place we want to be.
Perfect. Keep your eyes peeled for Windcrest. Earth spirits. Strange. You didn't see any the last time we were here.
Seems like they're attached to the windcrest. Maybe they can feel its power.
This'll show them!
One fell. You've met your match. In one fell blow.
Hey! I think I spied some windcrest!
Feel the fight! Heal!
Now I'm ready. You said it!
Yeah, that should be more than enough.
But we still haven't located the boy. What? Where is that coming from?
I don't know, but it can't be a good sign. We better hurry.
A golem. So that's what was behind the tremors.
Crap, it spotted us! Get ready for a fight!
Enchanted lands! It's over! over! I've got you! The most formidable crew in the skies!
It was me. But I heard Hurricane's voice just now. I think that when Hurricane covered this archipelago in storm, some of its power fused with the land and the monster.
Are you injured? I'm still here.
I'm coming! Hang on!
Looking good?
Let's go! Get on, bad guys!
Hey, don't go asking for trouble. Go for an all-out assault.
Me. I get some of that Hurricane juice too? This golem is up!
We can't afford to let it run free. Not while that boy remains missing. Cut them down! Enchanted land!
You got it! Okay, let's go!
I won't fail you.
Exploring with baddies on our tails is no fun! Let's give ourselves some breathing room.
On my mark!
There's nothing to fear.
Back in the game!
Is it safe now?
I recognize that voice. With a final death knell, the golem stilled. The boy crawled out from the tall grass, and I pressed the wind crest into his trembling hand.
Wow! Now I can save my sister! You're the best, lady!
He smiled at me, and with a great burden lifted from his shoulders, skipped the whole way back to Folka. As I watched his happy shuffle, I wished more joy and color into his life of toil, which had been covered by the dust of destruction.
Come to view the requests?
We made medicine from the wind crest you picked. The doctor said Hazel looks better every day. This morning, she was able to get out of bed and do some drawing. She loves drawing pictures. Thanks again, Catalina. From Al.
And Hazel.
P.S. Please visit Folka when you have a chance.
How many times do I gotta say it? Getting parts to fix the Nautilus out here in the boonies is next to impossible.
I've never been good with women. My words never come out quite the way I mean for them to. I thought maybe Miss Mechanic would be on board, but... I probably shouldn't be doing this behind Kent's back anyway.
I'm telling you, I've tried everything. Sure, I'd love to see her fly again, but it's time to... get real. Right?
Hey, come on. That was against the rules. How was I supposed to keep a stern attitude against that blubbering mess? When I finally got a word in edgewise, I let her know I already had the parts she needed. Picked them up here and there, across Fanta Grande and Nala Grande. Here, this what you need? I'll cut you a deal.
Wait, how? Where in the skies did you find these?
Caught up in her excitement, she leapt at me. Whoa, not so close, Missy. Of course, she paid me no regard. It was the parts she had her eyes on.
Some modifications here and there, I could... Yeah. I can't believe it! The dream is alive!
Yep, the dream was alive. She didn't have to say it. The look on her face was enough. All that hubbub from earlier was nowhere to be found. After forking over the payment, she happily took the spare parts off my hands. She also made sure to plant a big fat kiss on my cheek before scurrying off. Sheesh, at least warn a guy beforehand, right? Women, I swear. In any case, the winds were starting to blow back in their favor.
Rackham, there you are. I've got huge news. Listen to this.
It was clear from Kent's smile that the repairs on the Nautilus were going smoothly, thanks to a mechanic friend of his. Well, ain't that something? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't impressed. Those parts weren't the easiest to work with. Not bad, Miss Mechanic.
Rackham, sir? My friend told me she got the parts from a traveling skyfarer. Had 3-day-old scruff and a little swagger to him. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Huh. Well, I keep my scruff in an elegant chin strap. Thank you very much. Not sure I sounded very convincing trying to play off his answer, but I'm a helmsman, not an actor. Ha, but just another performance or two, and the Nautilus would be skybound once more.
While out running errands in Folka one day, I came across a crowd of people in the town square. But from the sounds of things, it wasn't a friendly get-together.
I hate you all! Mom, Dad, everybody in this stupid town!
The boy shouted angrily at the adults and took off running, right into me. We both landed on our backsides. Sheesh, watch where you're going, kid. And that's when I noticed the tears streaming down his face. He was clearly upset about something. Hey, you okay? The boy hopped to his feet without a word, shooting me a glare before sprinting away. One of the adults started to follow after him, but...
Please, Doctor, there's not much time.
The crowd stopped him in his tracks.
But I can't just... No, you're right. My patients need me. Forgive me, Lev.
The man closed his eyes, muttered something to the townspeople, and ran off in the opposite direction. Wait, that kid was crying! You're not gonna go after him? I shouted after the man's back, but he either didn't hear me, or pretended not to. Then I felt a gentle hand on my shoulder.
I'm sure he wants to, sweetheart. You see, that boy is his son.
The boy's name was Lev. His father was a doctor, with many patients needing urgent care, so he had no choice but to ask the townspeople to find his son for him. I knew I should mind my own business, but I couldn't get the poor kid's face out of my head. He was probably hiding somewhere all by himself, crying his eyes out. I understood all too well how painful it felt to be alone. When Master Sokka reached out to me, it changed my life forever. Maybe it was my turn to do the same for someone else. I turned to ask the crew if we could join the search, but they were already gearing up to head after him. It seemed we'd all had the same idea. Just you wait, Lev, I thought to myself. I was gonna find him and put a smile back on his face, even if it meant sticking my nose where it didn't belong.
Have a nice day.
Got an order? What kind of weapons you need? Want your weapons tempered? I'll handle it. Good. Always aim for the top. Let's kick it. A complete success. I'll handle it. How about that? Don't forget about upkeep.
Yes, can I help you? The villagers didn't seem too worried about Lev. According to them, he'd have to venture much deeper into the forest before encountering any monsters. But that wasn't the issue. It seemed like nobody wanted to talk about why he'd run off in the first place. It was an obvious cry for help, and nobody was helping. I went through the same thing back in the day. Even after I met my master, there were times when the loss of my parents was just too much to bear. I didn't go so far as to run from home, but I'd sit alone in the corner of my room, hugging my knees to my chest and crying. Whenever Master Zaka found me like that, he'd always perform a silly magic trick to cheer me up. Just like me, all Lev wanted was for someone to find him, to take his hand, so he went off on his own in the hopes that someone would come for him. I'm sure he knew it was selfish, but it was the only card he felt he had left.
Do you think this means Lev doesn't want to live at home anymore?
I had a feeling that wasn't the case. He's probably just going through a rebellious phase.
Oh, that's when kids start arguing and acting out, right? Catalina told me it's pretty common. Did you have a phase like that?
Lyria's question was innocent enough, but I was too embarrassed to admit that I'd ever gone off alone because I wanted someone to pay attention to me. Heck no! That's not something befitting of a grown lady like myself. So what if I told a little lie? Our biggest concern right now was Lev, who was out there, probably crying with his back up against some rough, silent tree. He needed a friend, and I was more than determined to be one for him. This forest is as huge as ever. I sure hope Lev's okay.
Come on! We gotta find him, and fast! Wait, we're still on the edge of the forest, right? What are goblins doing here?
You're weaker now!
There's no time to waste. We've gotta find him.
Watch out for the flyers! We're gonna need that magic tornado! Too hot to handle!
I don't see him anywhere.
That's a lot of monsters. Guess we'll just have to take them all out.
I'm on it.
Incoming!
Oh, come on! Just leave us alone already!
Rain of arrows!
Stay still!
Looking good!
This should do it!
One for all!
Like that's the last of our Come on! Look! There he is! Over there!
Hey, Uggos! I'm the one you want!
Watch out for the shooter!
okay?
Yeah, thanks.
We were lucky we found Lev when we did, or he would have been Monster Chow. But before we could talk to him, the town watch came hurrying over.
Lev, your parents are worried sick about you. Come on, let's go home.
Lev looked away, ignoring the old man's outstretched hand. I could imagine how he was feeling, being treated like he was selfish and immature, when all he wanted was someone to sit down and talk to. The man sighed and scratched his head in frustration.
Your mom and dad are fine people. Try being a little more considerate, okay?
Lev immediately bristled at those words, breaking his silence.
What do you know? This is all your fault!
Knocking the man's hand out of the way, he turned and ran deeper into the forest. It was like watching a scene from my own past, but I wished he'd get a grip already. The deeper he went into the forest, the more likely he was to get attacked. We had to hurry.
Come to view the request?
We all split up to search for Lev so we could cover more ground. I didn't see any trace of him at first, so I thought I must have gone the wrong way. But then I noticed footprints that looked like someone had slipped over a nearby ledge. And sure enough, when I peeked down, I saw a familiar figure sitting hunched over, knees to his chest. He looked a little scraped up, but didn't seem to be hurt badly. I was just glad I'd managed to find him still in one piece. When I told him I was a Skyfarer, he immediately burst into tears of relief. I could tell he was upset with the villagers about something, and that's why he couldn't be honest with them. But as an outsider, I thought I might have a chance. Watch closely. I'm gonna cast some special magic just for you. It was time for one of my master's patented magic tricks. I showed Lev my empty palm before covering it with a handkerchief. I flung the cloth away, and voila! There was a piece of candy in my hand.
Wow, candy!
Here, you can have it. After devouring the candy, he finally calmed down.
Thanks.
Normally, that would have been enough to lift any kid's spirits, but his face fell again as quickly as it had lit up. I guess he really doesn't want to go home. I decided I wouldn't leave him until there was a smile back on his face. While we were still deep in the woods, I decided to ask Lev up front. Why did you run away? He hesitated at first, but after seeing that I was serious, he started to open up.
My mom and dad used to work as doctors in Tempeal.
Back then, all had been well with their family. But when Furikin went berserk, they lost their home and ended up moving to Folka. That was when things started to fall apart. His parents began to spend all of their time tending to patients who were affected by the disaster, with hardly a moment's rest. Lev watched as his mom got paler and the black circles under her eyes grew darker and darker. He begged her to take a break, but it was no use. Eventually, she collapsed from overwork.
I told her she wouldn't be able to help people anymore if she got sick. She just wouldn't listen to me.
And here I thought he was just a kid going through a rebellious phase. That wasn't the case at all. That's really grown up of you, Lev. You're just worried about your mom and dad, huh?
Yeah.
After hearing Lev's explanation, I finally understood how he felt. I knew how hard it was watching people you cared about pushing themselves too hard. I couldn't stand to see my master doing it either. And that's exactly what was going through Lev's mind. He wasn't being selfish. Everything he did, it was because he loved his parents. If it were me in his shoes, I'm sure I'd be worried sick about my parents too. There's nothing wrong with worrying about your parents. I'm sure they're proud to have a son who cares so much.
But
what? Something was still on his mind.
I always wanted to be a great doctor, just like my mom and dad. But after my mom collapsed, I started thinking maybe everybody else was just using them.
Along the way, he'd stopped being able to trust the people of Folka, and he thought feeling that way meant he could never follow in his parents' footsteps. Lev stared at the ground as he spoke, finally confiding his troubles to me. After hearing his story, I began to open up about my own parents. He listened to my words in silence. My parents had also strained themselves too hard after getting sick, and eventually passed away. So Lev's circumstances were all too familiar. Just like him, I felt nothing but bitterness and despair. But there was one difference. I've got to admit, I envy you a little. After all, your mom and dad are still alive and well. While we were standing there talking, Lev's parents and the villagers were probably beside themselves with worry, braving the dangers of the forest to search for him. When I told him that, Lev finally seemed to grasp the situation.
I really messed up, didn't I? I'm sorry.
Are you sure I'm the person you should be saying that to? I stood up and smiled at Lev. He and his family all seemed like really good people. The only thing they needed to patch their home back together was a long heart-to-heart. If you put in the work, you'll see the results. As we made our way back to town, Lev still seemed anxious. Don't start freaking out yet. First, you need to apologize to your parents. Then you can tell them everything you told me.
Well, how am I supposed to say it, though?
Talk about helpless. Lucky for him, he had a grown-up lady around to nudge him in the right direction. How about I teach you that special magic I showed you earlier?
But that wasn't real magic, right? It was just some cheap trick.
Rude. It was good enough to make you stop blubbering, wasn't it? Come on, let me see your hand. The trick I showed him could be used without any special training. It was the magic designed to bring smiles that my master had taught me. Lev watched me closely, then tried his best to copy what I did. He practiced over and over and over. After walking through the forest for a while, we heard the voices of Lev's parents and the other villagers.
Lev? Answer if you can hear me!
Where are you, Lev?
Mom! Dad!
As soon as Lev heard his parents' voices, he broke into a run. At that moment, the villagers' shouts echoed through the nearby woods.
Look out!
An enormous figure was approaching, knocking down trees as it lumbered toward us. It couldn't be a goblin.
Intruders, die!
It all happened so quickly. The goblin lunged to attack Lev's parents.
You're gonna have to go through us first.
Huh?
Lev was speechless. It seemed as if the entire town of Folka had stepped up to protect his parents from the monster.
Puny weaklings!
What I did next was purely out of instinct. Freeze! A block of ice appeared out of thin air, slamming into the goblin's head.
Tasty meat! You first!
The spell had done its job. I'd gotten the goblin's attention. I'd finally made a breakthrough with Lev. I wasn't gonna let monster breath over here ruin their happy reunion. Bring it on! I've got a spell with your name on it.
I wish there was something we could do to help her.
I'll try mixing up a potion. That should do the trick.
I'll burn you up!
There's more of them. What do we do now?
Stand back, everyone! I can handle this by myself! Thought you had me. I'll burn you up! scare me.
Yeah, you got this!
Now you're going down! Nothing yet! Elemental Dust!
Another revival potion!
Too hot to handle!
Where that came from?
Fire! Here we go! Watch it! This'll hurt!
Come on, you can do it!
Never give up!
Another revival potion coming up!
Here we go! Healing Whirl! It's not too hot to handle! It's over! Not quite!
There's more where that came from!
I'll blow them away! Fire!
Another revival potion coming up!
I'll burn you up! Too hot to handle!
There's more where that came from!
Thought you had me.
Another revival potion coming up!
Here we go. This guy's nothing special. Just gotta keep it up.
Incredible. I think she might actually do this.
I'll burn you up. Not quite.
There's more where that came from!
Thought you had me. Too hot to handle. This'll hurt.
air crackling? Now I'm fired up. Ice! Too hot to handle. Now's my chance. Here, take my magic. Stick it to love! It's not over yet. Healing wind! Thought you had me. Fire! Watch it! Here we go! Not quite. Too hot to My parents put their lives on the line for the sake of vaults, so I can't back down either. I'll use the magic Master Zaka taught me to make everyone smile. It'll hurt. Ice! Fire! Thought you had me.
She took it down all by herself.
Impressed yet?
First you saved Tempeal, and now us. Thank you, Skyfarer.
The people of Folka were all safe, including Lev's parents. After thanking me, Lev turned to the villagers, shuffling his feet nervously.
I'm really sorry, everybody. Thanks for protecting my mom and dad.
Come now, there's no need for that. We're the ones who ought to be thanking your folks. They've done so much for us. Sorry for everything we've put your family through.
Lev and I shared a glance before he turned to his parents, finally telling them everything he'd been bottling up inside. His parents and the people of Folka listened intently, nodding every so often at his words.
You only ever had everyone's best intentions at heart, didn't you? We're so sorry for making you worry.
I chalked it all up to selfishness and immaturity, but I should have heard you out. I hope you can forgive your old man.
I was just glad everything had turned out all right in the end.
Ew! We're here to help!
Sorry, we were clear on the other side of the woods. What happened to that giant monster?
What the heck? You're the one who said heroes always arrive just in the nick of time. But what kind of hero arrives after the fight's already over?
What does that matter right now? Here, let me take a look at you. You're not hurt or anything, are you?
You have no idea how much I wanted to tease Rackham for losing his cool. But I held it in. It's really nice knowing you have people who care.